Tonight, we are continuing our New Year's party as we continue to start 2023. We end 2022 and we start 2023 off with a brand new kicking up a notch year. So, let's continue on. Now, who could forget this amazing survivor story about four people who survived on a horrific plane crash going across the Andes. This was all back in the 70s. Cochi Inciarte, Canessa, and Parado. Just to name 3 out of 4. Now, these people were playing rugby. To get to Chile, they crossed the Andes. And it was a struggle to survive, like 9 days of hiking. The plane crashed. They used everything they could. They used survival skills. They were dressed in short sleeve shirts. And pictures have proved that about their survival. And they say they never returned to the mountain. And really. It's just like, okay. But I'm glad that they survived throughout the months they were in that mountain. After that story aired, I think they stopped. Now, who could forget the story of Coach Feifel? Now, those who don't know Coach Feifel, it was the story of Richard Hoffman, who broke his silence 30 years ago. 30 years ago, Coach John Feifel had molested Richard Hoffman. He couldn't go to his father because he's afraid that his father would whoop him if he did. His dad was like, why didn't you come to me sooner? Because he was afraid he'd get beaten up. And at those times, when back in the 80s, he got arrested first time, and he didn't go to court. Second time, he was placed on probation, 18 months probation. It was a sodomy charge. Nobody could fess up. Nobody went to the court and said, yes, John Feifel molested me. So they put it on, they didn't charge him with sodomy, they put him on probation. And I'm sitting there going, why put him on probation? Because of the law. I mean, didn't he have an attorney with him? If his attorney said, if his attorney was present, then the attorney would just be, I don't know, but age of 35. He was out of prison. I don't know if he's doing this ever again, but if he is, he needs to stop and get some help. So, Richard, congratulations on coming forward telling your story. I just really hope that it helps. Who could forget Dr. Ronald Davidson? Dr. Ronald Davidson from the city of... Dr. Ronald Davidson was investigating the Rebound program, and so was Dateline. Now, if you don't know what the Rebound program is, it started this thing called High Plains. It was in Brush, Colorado. Although it's called the Youth Center, it's basically a juvenile detention center for convicts, drug addicts, etc. But what was disturbing there was the amount of pornography that staff was given, the falsification of paperwork, documents, and a lot of other things. Sex. It's like, is this a prison or a freebie? It's a prison, for crying out loud. If you're in prison, you're in prison. You don't have any rights. You sit in prison. If you're in prison, you sit in prison. High Plains is now under attack from what's going on, so I'm really glad something's been happening here. But holding on to we open another High Plains Center. Let me just look at Jeremy Nettles' face. Who could forget the story about MSG? MSG means monosodium glutamate. If you remember from back in the 60s, it was an MSG buzz, the Chinese food disorder. Now, lots of other things. If you go to a store and it says MSG, you gotta watch what you're looking for. So if you see products say MSG, iodized yeast and all, you gotta watch out what you're doing. If you contain too much MSG, you could have a disorder. Your throat can get clogged up, and your nose could get clogged up. So yeah. All right. Coming up next, do you remember the ketogenic diet? We're going to recap a story about the ketogenic diet. We'll tell you what it means and the foods that you can eat to help with your seizures. Stay with us. Welcome back to our New Year's celebration. Now, who could forget the ketogenic diet? The ketogenic diet is a diet is a high-fat, moderate protein, very low carbohydrate diet. Its use is for the children who had epileptic seizures. And we focused in on one person. His name was Charlie Abrams. It all started when Jim Abrams heard about these seizures. So he attended medical lectures. And those drugs didn't work. So against his own doctor's advice, he went to medical school and he found a book. In that book, it was something called the ketogenic diet. A diet consisting most of everything that all doctors tell us to avoid. Generous helpings of fat. So they brought Charlie to the doctor, and the ketogenic diet was a loss back in the 60s. I mean, drug companies made millions and the diet stopped, but one person brought back the diet. Her name was Melissa Kelly, who had a lot of ideas for the diet. High fat, high protein, high carb, low carbs, bacon, butter, heavy whipping cream. Every bite had to be measured down to the gram. Or Millie says the diet won't work. In Charlie's case, he was on the diet back in the 90s. Then 2 years, in 96, he was off the diet. The seizures came back, and one last time he was on the diet, and seizure free. That time after that, we looked at some foods that would help out with the ketogenic diet. So here's a list. The keto-friendly diets like meat and eggs. You have salmon, tuna, sardines, beef, eggs, pork, turkey, chicken. That's the meat and eggs. The fruits and vegetables. You have avocado, berries, peppers, bell peppers to be exact, broccoli, cauliflower, green beans, spinach, zucchini. Dairy, cheese, cottage cheese, plain Greek yogurt, butter, heavy cream, sour cream. Miscellaneous, dark chocolate, cocoa powder, olive oil, nuts, seeds, unsweetened, plant-based milks, alternate flours, unsweetened coffee and tea. The list of low-carb, keto-friendly diets are appropriate to eat when you're following keto. If you're on the keto diet, here's the stuff that are appropriate. Fish and seafood, okay. Low-carb veggies, cheese, avocados, poultry, eggs, nuts, seeds, plain Greek yogurt, berries, unsweetened, dark coffee and tea, dark chocolate and cocoa powder. Fish is rich in B vitamins, potassium, and selenium. It's also protein rich and carb free. Salmon, sardines, mackerel, tuna, and other fatty fish boast high levels of omega-3 fats, which have been found to lower blood sugar levels and increase insulin sensitivity. Frequent fish intake has to be linked to a decreased risk of chronic disease as well as improved mental health. Non-starchy vegetables are low in calories and carbs, where many in but high in many nutrients, including vitamins, serum, or several minerals. They also contain antioxidants which help protect against cell damage and free radicals. Aim for non-starchy vegetable less than 8 grams of net carbs per cup. Net carbs are total carbohydrates minus fiber. Broccoli, cauliflower, green beans, bell peppers, zucchini, and spinach fit the bill. As for cheese, 0 carbohydrates and high in fat, making a great fit for the ketogenic diet. It's also rich in protein and calcium, but 1 ounce slice of cheese delivers about 30% of the daily value for saturated fat. So if you're worried about heart disease, consider portion size when you're nourishing on cheese. I like it cheesy, like my mac and cheese, but take it easy on the cheese. Avoid cheese for dogs. They'll have farts for years. Greek yogurt and cottage cheese. 5 grams of carbohydrates, 12 grams of protein. The same amount of cottage cheese is also 5 grams of carbohydrates, 18 grams of protein. Studies have shown that both calcium and protein can reduce the appetite to promote fullness. Higher fat yogurts and cottage cheese helps you live longer. And full fat products would be a part of the ketogenic diet. Avocados. Hard, healthy fats like avocados, which are high in monounsaturated fat and potassium. A general variety of Americans are lacking. Half a medium avocado contains 9 grams of total carbohydrates, 7 grams of which are fiber. Swapping animal fats for plant fats like avocados can help improve cholesterol and triglyceride levels. Meat and poultry. They're rich in B vitamins such as minerals including potassium, silicium, and zinc. While processed meats like bacon and sausage are allowed in keto, they aren't the best for your heart and may risk certain types of cancer if you eat too much. Choose chicken, fish, and beef more often than limit processed meats. So avoid bacon and sausage you must, but chicken and fish. Eggs, high in protein, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. 2 eggs contain 0 carbohydrates, 12 grams of protein. Eggs have been shown to trigger hormones and increase feelings of fullness and keep blood sugar levels stable. And they also contain antioxidants such as lutein and zeaxanthin, which help protect eye health. Nuts and seeds like almonds, Brazil nuts, cashews, macadamia nuts, pecans, pistachios, walnuts. That's the nuts. The seeds: cheese seeds, flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds. Berries. Carb counts for half a cup of some berries, like blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries. Dark chocolate or cocoa powder. Helps out. You can't eat, if you're on a ketogenic diet, these are the foods you can't eat, like grains, starchy vegetables, high sugar fruits, sweetened yogurt, juices, honey, syrup, sugar in any form, chips and crackers, baked goods, gluten-free baked goods. Starchy high vegetables. I mean, I would go all day with this, but I just want to let you know some of the foods that for drinks, you can drink milk, beans, and legumes. But the bottom line is, it's not one size fits all prescription. It's crucial to work with the dietitian to ensure you're getting essential nutrients while maintaining ketosis. There's some research on the potential benefits of the ketogenic diet for many conditions, but it's very challenging for most people to keep up with the long haul. Long-term effects on overall health and poorly understood need more research. Not to mention, if you decide to go keto, work with a dietitian, help you create a plan. Like what Charlie did. He had the eggs and bacon diet. Now, in his case, bacon could be an exception, but he eats too much of it, it won't work. It's like, if you're going to put your child on the ketogenic diet because of the seizures, every bite has to be measured by the gram. The right balance of high fat and high protein. That works out well. And sometime this week, we'll look at a 2020 report called Killer Fat. Looking at the stuff that has fat on it. And looking at the like croissants, donuts, cereals, whatever. We'll hear from Dr. Timothy Johnson sometime this week. But still ahead, what's happened in Wenatchee after that sex ring case? Then, a sexual harassment story from Ford and from prisons. Stay with us. Well, since this is our New Year's Eve celebration, let's bring up to speed on some issues that we're still focusing on, like the Oxford case. In case you don't know, Ethan Crumley was charged with murder. If he's convicted, he'll face life in prison. So let's look back at let's look at the article. Let's give you some catching up to do. Charity hockey game benefits foundation honoring Oxford school shooting victim Tate Murray. So to update you guys, the Tate family, the family is this family started the 42 Strong Foundation divided for peer mentoring. The foundation pairs with older students with those getting ready to transition to high school. It also does outings for the kids and hosts special speakers. If you want to support this, you can go to 42strongtate.org, an organization that has a lot of things. They got wristbands, hockey pucks, jerseys, a Samsung case, pictures, AirPods case, hoodies, shirts. You know what? I may think about getting these. So again, if you want to get this, we'll put the link in the description below. Again, that is 42strongtate.org. They got wristbands, hockey pucks, and everything. Even a hockey jersey. And if I get this, I'll show it to you on our next episode. Last month, 1 year after the Oxford High shooting, the Michigan Supreme Court halts the case. So the case is being halted, and we'll keep you posted on what's been going on. Now what's happened? Now let's recap to what's happened in Uvalde ever since that horrific shooting almost a year ago. The suspect in this case, his name is Bryan Kohberger. Her sister wrote a poem about the massacre. This is the suspect. Her name, Bryan Christopher Kohberger. He was the suspect. The 20-year-old man was arrested Friday in connection with the Uvers, Idaho homicide. He sent a letter to her local Pennsylvania paper last summer, and they included a poem. Here's what the poem said. Barefooted their laughter, there is now not a sound. As we lower our children into the ground, small hands and feet, buried 6 feet deep into the earth of the world flat failed them. Could be a country song to me, but I think this could have been finished. But sometime this week, we'll look at the Idaho University murders. And 2 weeks ago, Uvalde video shows flawed medical response to a Robb shooting. This is new video that was released from the Washington Post. But there was a flawed medical response that happened. If I take a look at what happened, this is from the wow. This is an unreleased audio and video interviews for the first time show helicopter and ambulance delays. So by scrolling through all of this, this is the map for the location of Marilis. They're at 212, 112, 111. And the two ambulances were available, which were across the street at 12:53. They were right there, and the school was like 35 feet. And this picture right here, dozens of officers from federal, state, and local agencies, as well as school buses, parked in the street leading to the school. Those were the school buses right there. The two ambulances were at the scene when police killed the gunman, but additional EMS was going to struggle to get there. At 12:58, 10-4, we were at Grove Street, and Grove Street was parked up by law enforcement. 1 man later, 6 students, including one was seriously injured, were taken on the hospital on the school bus with no trained medics on board, according to Texas EMS records. So law enforcement cars were locked and could not quickly be moved, following medics to basically try various routes to the school, crisscrossing through residents' yards. So this is Grove Street, and this is Geraldine Street. There was a road blockage there. This was an audio recording from about 1:12 p.m. 33 minutes after police killed the gunman, an ambulance struggled to access the school via Grove Street. The helicopters were available, and then this and this. And this was newly released video from Ruben Ruse. This was the police officer, Ruben Ruse. So, yeah, these were released videos. This was 12:04 p.m. And around 18 minutes later, they set up inside the school. This was all from the Washington Post. And if you look at this map, there's Uvalde. There's Uvalde right here. The University, this is all the way in San Antonio. The airport was here. The Memorial Hospital, this is Robb Elementary. And these were the two ambulances that were right there. One was around 2 and one still 16 minutes after the breach, and the medics put her one inside. This was at 12:50, and this was at 12:51. 112. Everyone else was carried out of her classroom in room 112 and through the school hallway by 4 police officers and her husband following behind. And what we're told said, I asked the guys, hey, let's not work on her over here. But we looked to the right and there were ambulances. There were 2 ambulances about 100 feet away from the school. Medics lay Maria's on the ground and performed chest compressions. And at that time, there were 6 ambulances cars. They arrived and 2 left, which is unclear. Maria's was not immediately put into one of these ambulances. It was unclear. Medics moved Morales up the ground to an ambulance. And it was gone. So, yeah. And last week, the Texas Ranger was suspended after Uvalde shooting was harming criminal cases. So, this is from the Texas Tribune. One of the officers, Christopher Ryan, was now suspended during this time. So that's all from the latest in Oxford and Uvalde. We'll keep you posted, and we'll have more of our celebration after this break. Stay with us. Remember Francisco Montano? If you don't remember, we focused on him after he was arrested years ago for burping in class. No kidding. He was far out. He burped in class. That was from the 2020 report. And we also heard from the Young Turks when we did our School to Prison pipeline just 12 days ago. Let's take a look.
200 kids have been arrested in Albuquerque, in the Albuquerque School District in the past 3 years, and they've been arrested for non-violent offenses, right? Minor misdemeanors, not a big deal, but they've been arrested and sent to juvenile hall. Now, it turns out that a kid was arrested for burping in class.
Come on.
Literally.
This country is insane, man. Our answer to everything is put them in jail.
Yeah.
You smoke pot? Oh, that's it. Jail. Sometimes jail for life, right? Now we got a Republican candidate saying you should be executed, right? So now we're arresting kids for burping.
Yeah.
You know how many kids in my elementary school would have been arrested? Almost all the boys. Like, it was funny. Like, and then what happens? Gone in jail. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Hey, stop burping my class. Stop it. Go in the hallway. Quit burping. I'm going to call the police. Okay. 911. Hello, police. My students won't stop burping. Can you send a police officer right away? Thank you. Where's the suspect? Come with me. What did I do? You're under arrest for disrupting the class. Here, we'll place you to the hall. I'm calling your mom. Hello? Miss Montano? Your son was arrested for belching in class. He keeps telling me he's arrested for belching in class? That's what it's like to me, ma'am. But still, he was never prosecuted. You know what? I'm going to replay this one. In case you don't remember, we did our Classroom Confidential series, which really was on the GMB YouTube channel. That time we focused on every single issue from discipline, which was the discipline issue. Because let me tell you something, we all know there's bad things going on in our schools. Gang activity, drug activity, bullying. You need extreme when the violence is real. And maybe you have to make sure that those kids get pulled out. It's all part of Classroom Confidential. There it is.
Imagine going into the post office and seeing these crimes on those 10 most wanted flyers, classroom edition. Burping, doodling, throwing a tantrum. Bad behavior to be sure, but worthy of arrest at 5 years old? Everything I listed are crimes that got kids handcuffed by police. Of course, we want law and order in our classrooms, but at what cost? Bad things can happen at school. Guns, drugs, bullying. And as you can see in all those videos on the internet, classrooms run amok.
Shut up and sit down.
So it is for good reason that more and more police are on the beat in hallways and classrooms across the country. But in this climate of controlling behavior, have we gone too far? Case in point, the Texas girl's in the news right now for getting spanked.
After she got caught helping another student cheat, Taylor got a paddle to the backside.
Too hard, their mothers say, by a male vice principal.
Giving her a swat behind closed doors, it is creepy.
Yep, spanking, still legal in schools in 19 states. The 9-year-old in Gastonia, North Carolina, suspended for sexual harassment because, get this, he was overheard telling a friend
I said Miss Terry was cute.
his teacher was cute. The school later apologized and forced the principal to retire. And this video stunned the nation in 2005. Remember the 5-year-old girl handcuffed by St. Petersburg, Florida police for throwing a tantrum in preschool? How can this be? Advocates say the combination of cops and kids in the classroom is having all kinds of unintended consequences. Some of them so ridiculous, you literally can't make this stuff up.
Your daughter's school decided to have her arrested?
When she was just 12 years old, Alexa was arrested in her New York City middle school, searched, handcuffed, taken away by 4 of New York's finest.
Had you ever been in a police station?
No.
Had you ever been arrested?
No.
Alexa's now 15, but remembers her crime like it was yesterday. Doodling on a desk, with an erasable marker, no less.
So you wrote on the desk. It's not like pulling a knife on somebody, but you're not supposed to write on the desk, true?
Yes.
Are you a graffiti artist?
No.
Did you used to spray paint right all over the walls in school?
Never.
Were you known as that?
No.
Alexa, like some funny tag name that you had that you used?
No.
Alexa had the very bad luck to be attending a school with a zero tolerance for graffiti. And, as her mother would tell you, a similar score in common sense. She says the school officers search her, make her take off some of her clothes. Then, they don't just call her mother, Maraima Camacho. They call the cops from the precinct across the street.
When I saw the police officer go for the handcuffs, and I said, you gotta be kidding me.
So they arrest your daughter, they put her in handcuffs. Like a thug.
Right. And she was not resisting arrest.
Turned me over and hands behind my back.
And you got handcuffed?
Metal handcuffs.
At 12?
Yes.
For doodling on a desk?
Erasable marker.
She was crying. She was so scared.
Maybe you find it hard to understand how a little girl gets arrested for writing on a desk. After all, it's not like she perpetrated some heinous crime, something really inexcusable like illegal burping.
I burped and I said, excuse me. She said to quit talking, I'm disrupting.
Francisco Montano is 15 now, plays baseball. He's a slugger. But 2 years ago, when he was 13 in the 7th grade at Cleveland Middle School in Albuquerque, New Mexico, he says he got busted for burping. The school and the police say it was more than that. He was disrupting the class and refused to obey the teacher. And for that, he got arrested.
Officer came up to me. He said because I was disrupting the educational process, he handcuffed me and he drove me to the detention center.
Then the detention center called his mother, Annette Montano.
And he said, our son was arrested and detained for belching in class. I said, are you seriously telling me he's in jail for burping? And he said, that's what it looks like to me, ma'am.
Francisco was never prosecuted. Instead, he's now suing the school and the police. The Albuquerque police say they only make arrests if the disruption is so bad the teacher can't teach and students can't learn. America's Most Wanted? They are not, says civil rights advocate Judith Brown Deannis.
It is ridiculous. It is extreme discipline. We have gone over the top with this, and instead of teaching children the right behaviors, instead of nurturing them, we're hauling them off in handcuffs.
Francisco Negron is with the National School Boards Association.
I don't think there's a public school to prison pipeline, and I certainly don't think that the presence of school resource officers is in some way contributing to that.
We know there are some bad things going on in our schools. There's gang activity, heavy drug activity, bullying in the extreme where the violence is real, and maybe you have to make sure that those kids get pulled out of the
But that's not
mainstream.
what we're talking about. Everyone wants safety in the schools. We want discipline in our schools, but we don't need to see our children put into the juvenile justice system for very minor behavior that could have been handled by a parent.
An Education Department civil rights survey earlier this year shows nearly 100,000 kids arrested in schools. In New York, Alexa, our doodler, fought back. She sued the city.
This is not about the money. We don't want this to happen again to any other child.
While admitting no wrongdoing, the city paid Alexa a 6-figure settlement. The criminal charges were dropped and the case is sealed. But that arrest is still on Alexa's record.
She has an arrest record.
Her attorney, Joseph Rosenthal, says this school's wrong will haunt Alexa for years to come.
For the rest of her life, she has to say, yes, I was arrested.
We shouldn't be arresting kids. That's just what the whole thing is. I mean, while I was watching the story, I came across an article talking about this. This happened on February 10th, almost a year ago. Almost a year ago. A 6-year-old was arrested. I mean, USA Today announces federal crime reports identified more than 2,600 arrests in schools along the kids ages 5 to 9 between 2000 and 2019. 19 years. The problem started at school. By then, she developed severe sleep apnea. It didn't work. 2019, first grader. I mean, this was caught on camera. Please, give me a second chance. So yeah, we shouldn't be arresting kids, period. When we come back, the dumbest reason why kids are suspended. Really updating that got me funny. Don't go away. You may remember a few seasons ago we focused on the dumbest reasons why kids got suspended. So let's take a look at some of my favorites. The creative haircut. 12-year-old student in middle school had Matt Bonner, MBA student, drawn on the back of his head. But he was given an in-school suspension for violating school's dress code. He had to shave his head while coming back to school. After that, Matt Bonner liked him. He gave the kid swag. Next was hugging a friend. They got strict hugging policy. One to prevent harassment, keep students focused on learning. T-bowing. 44 people got suspended for T-bowing. It's the only way it is. You just go like this in the middle of the hallway, and it's all like, I don't know what was crazier. Growing hair for charity. 17 people got suspended for growing hair. A 6-year-old girl was saying, "I'm sexy and I know it." Who would go to his lunchtime. He was suspended for sexual harassment. For all his pictures in the excessive repeating M&M's commercial was prohibited by Omo, parodied by Omo on Sesame Street, okay? Calling a teacher cute. That, like a 9-year-old North Carolina was suspended for sexual harassment. Calling a teacher cute. I said Miss Taylor was cute. That's all I said. And chivalry, like holding a door. And here's more of the dumbest reasons why kids get suspended. Texting in class. A 14-year-old Wisconsin girl decided to pass some time texting. However, she was asked to stop. The 14-year-old ignored and regressed until security officers came and arrested her under the charge of disorderly conduct. To be fair, you shouldn't text in class. But being arrested for texting is a bit too much, don't you think? It is too much. Food fight. A group of kids between 11 and 15 years old were reportedly arrested in Chicago because of a cafeteria food fight. Reports say that one student tossed a piece of food because someone else threw an orange and they yelled food fight, and that was apparently enough for the kids to be arrested. I mean, this is from list25.com, which is 25 numbers means school children have been arrested or suspended. Hacking a computer and change the grades. Remember the episode of iCarly where Freddie changes Carly's grade? Well, they were almost arrested. In 2013, 3 Prescott High School students were on the verge of flunking their classes were arrested after school officials found that they hacked into their teachers' computers and improved their grades. The 3 students were booked at the Juvenile Detention Center on felony charges of tampering with public records and computer tampering. That's not the dumb reason. That's just tampering. An honor student in Texas high school back in 2012, which was 10 years ago, was jailed for missing school because, believe it or not, the 17-year-old girl was forced to spend a night in jail just because she was working 2 jobs supporting younger siblings. Okay. Why do you still commit truancy? Passing. Now that's dumb. It's really passing gas. A student in Florida school was busted after authorities said he was passing gas. Sexual harassment. 6-year-old girl was busted for sexual battery. Kissing a schoolmate. Changing her friend's name in the yearbook. Yelling. A 17-year-old boy was realized for arguing and yelling. Being too lively. Climbing on a furniture. Gets in class week for carrying a plastic butter knife, talking on the phone, the wrong meal to school, loving paper airplanes a little too much, being angry, doodling on a desk, for breaking up. A couple in high school were used to report milking each other in a fight while they were breaking up. Instead of being sent to the principal, they were arrested and sent to court. Breaking up his school, some use of school is illegal. For dropping cake on the floor. A security guard at the school, California, broke the arm of a 16-year-old girl while arrested her because she left crumbs on the floor after cleaning up some cake that she had dropped. A student didn't get arrested, but was forced by officers to strip down his underwear to wear 5 adults including cops watched. The reason for all this was $200 in his pocket. Burping. For opening a Christmas gift early. And for spraying perfume. Wow, it's just outrageous. We're back in a moment with our final one, porn in school. Don't go away. Do you guys remember we talked about pornography in our schools? I want to update you on this one, because this is one of the classics that we had. One of the classes I've done. Some kids this was 13 years ago. Some kids get arrested for watching porn in school. How do they do it? Judge for yourself. Take a look.
2 11-year-old boys were viewing porn on a school computer. They now face criminal charges.
All right, so here's how it breaks down. They're in 5th grade, right? It's in Utah.
It's in Utah.
The computers are set up in a way that they block all the sites.
Yeah, they have internet filters.
But the guys broke through. The kids are clever, and they typed in the word lesbian.
They typed in the word lesbian, and apparently images popped up. And what they did on several different occasions is they showed that lesbian image to their friends, right?
As any good friend would.
Right. And what ended up happening is one of their friends went and told their parents, another friend went and told the principal. Yeah. So these 2 boys get caught.
All right, so the principal says, I'm going to suspend you. I'm on board for that. Look, I don't mind, and this is the most, kid thing you've ever done in your life, right? But you're supposed to have consequences for doing kid things, right? And if the principal suspends you for looking at porn in the class, that makes perfect sense, right? But then they call the cops. And they're going to do a criminal complaint against these kids for showing porn to underage kids. But they're underage. They're 11.
Juveniles.
Do you know how many of my friends would have been arrested if we all got arrested for showing porn to one another when we were underage? Every single one of us.
Right.
Okay? They'd have been like, it's go time, go, go, go. And they bust down the doors, and it turns out we're all showing porn to one another. You know why we did that? Because we were kids. And we were like, oh my God, that's what it looks like? All right? I mean, come on. Arresting kids for that?
Right.
God, that is unbelievable. No, but the reason I get so angry at this, and this is the story that made me really angry today, it's because we've lost sense of touch with all common sense. Like, it's just flown out the window. I mean, kids can't be kids anymore. What are 11, 12, 13-year-old kids going to do? They're going to try to find porn. They're going to type in lesbian on a computer. And everybody's head explodes. And by the way, you know what happened when those kids looked at lesbians? Not a damn thing. What happened? They all of a sudden became perverts or something? Oh my God, I can't believe it. If my 11-year-old kid, and I know that's young, right? But if he's not trying to bust onto a computer to see lesbians, I'm going to have issues. I'm going to be like, come on, son. I mean, of course not, right? That's too young, la, 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 right? But that being said, on a serious note, if I caught him doing that, I'd be like, all right, son, your mom tells me that it's not the right way to go.
Your mom tells me.
Okay, and I can't have it. But I know I did the same thing when I was 11.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so, secretly I'd be thinking, way to figure it out, man. He broke the freaking code. By the way, how hard was it to break that code? Type in lesbian, you got lesbians. It's a great firewall on the computer.
Great internet filter.
Yeah.
And it's funny because one of the parents was like, the mother of one of these boys was like, well, how did my son even have the ability to access that on a school computer, right? And they're like, oh, all these porn sites, they're constantly changing their URLs, and they're being sneaky and finding ways to make it easy for people to find this porn, right? And it's like, it's so stupid. Like, okay, yeah, blame the porn sites. But whatever. Like you said, I don't think it's a big deal. Boys look up porn all the time. It's one thing to punish them and suspend them and, slap them on the wrist and talk to them about it. But it's another thing to send them to a juvenile detention center, which is what they're planning on doing.
And by the way, they're saying, they'll get some counseling and something. What are you going to get counseling for? That you're a kid going through puberty and you're interested in sex, you're going to counsel them out of that?
Right.
What? Seriously, what the hell are you supposed to do in counseling? All right, little Peter, I don't want you to think about your little Peter. Okay? You're having bad thoughts about lesbians, and we need to counsel you out of that. This country is we've become so, in some ways we go crazy, right? And there's sex flowing out of everywhere. In other ways, we're still so damn prudish, and we want to put these kids in a bubble and protect them from anything that is adult-like and make sure they never grow up. And it's crazy. I'm not in favor of the kids looking at porn, but I'm not going to send them to counseling or to the cops.
Right.
It's absolutely crazy.
I'm not doing that. I wouldn't even arrest my child for looking at porn. I take away his computer. I call my child, Timmy, you looking at porn? I'm taking away your laptop. I want to take it away. I want to go. No, sir, it's going to be recovered. Delete the files. No, delete the files. No, I smash it. No, I'll bury it in the sea then. Yeah. Okay, let's put it in here. There. That'll teach you to look up porn, you fucking idiot. That's a great way to end on. That's our New Year's Eve party. Hope you guys had fun. Full of laughter, updates, and well, you gotta put the party hats back. That's it for Give Me a Break Sunday. Going into Monday. We'll see you tomorrow for Give Me a Break Monday. And I had promised you to update you on that zero tolerance policy from the Young Turks. We are going to save that. We're going to save that update because really, I was going to do that, but we're going to save that. So for all of us here at YouTube and Give Me a Break, Happy New Year's, everyone, and I'll see you guys next year.
He is a kickboxer. That's how.
I'll see you guys next year or tomorrow. Good night, everyone.